Can you believe it, guys? We are finally back for Coda after a strange month-long break, and nothing sounds more fun than a month off of work and then having a full month of work. I swear, these FI and FOM guys just baffle me sometimes with their stupidity. Anyways, yes, we have a triple header now from Coda to Mexico to Brazil. 3 tracks that are wild cards where anything can happen. So let us start with Coda and see what craziness is expected. And yes, it is expected, since not only do we have stories entering the weekend, but we also have basically every team on the grid confirmed to be bringing upgrades, and yes, that includes the top 4 dogs. Plus, the track has a good mix of low, medium, and high-speed corners and long straights, so basically, every team has a chance of getting a good result here, and balance is going to matter a ton. So how do I think this race is going to go? Well, I think it's going to be a solid 9 out of 10, and I could see this race playing out similar to Spa, meaning a fight for the win all the way to the last lap. And we also have to consider that in 2022 and 2023, when Red Bull had the clear fastest car over everyone, this race was always close with Ferrari and Merc, and now we have McLaren this year, so we could expect many great things from this weekend. So let's discuss the upgrades teams will be bringing this weekend, any stories that have happened from the past month break, the ones to keep an eye on, and of course, my very delusional predictions for this weekend's Grand Prix. But before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock, and if you haven't joined yet, please do so since it would greatly help me out. Plus, there will be a new perk added soon, as well as an announcement at 7,500 subs that I think all of you guys will enjoy. And subscribe if you are new if you want to see a duck in denial this season. So, enough yapping, and here is the weekend preview for the United States Grand Prix. Grab a bucket of popcorn since we have a lot of upgrades to go over. And I should also mention quickly that these upgrades will likely be the last major package for most teams, since these last 6 races are basically a gauntlet of back-to-back triple headers. Again, the stupidity of these guys. So this is basically all or nothing till the end. Anyways, let us start from the bottom with Gambling Live Streaming F1 team, and that's all I have to say about them. Please give me a good reason as to why I should care for this team anymore, since they have brought a good amount of upgrades so far this season, but they've only gone more behind as the season goes on, so I'm just not going to deep dive since it's not like they're going to score points anyways. Watch me jinx this. Now for Haas, and not only have they upgraded their team with Toyota, but they're also bringing real car upgrades that may push them forward even more towards getting V-Carbon 6th. I'll be real with y'all, I am a low-key closeted Haas fan, since at first, I only liked them for their drama, but over time, I started liking them for them, and this is the best they've looked since 2018 I'd say, so seeing them here is making me really happy. Anyways, they are rumored to bring a minor upgrade package that will squeak out any performance they can, and considering how good they did in Austria and Silverstone, I am expecting big things from them since this track is really not too dissimilar to the ones I just mentioned. Anyways, next up we have their rivals V-Carb, and they are also bringing in upgrades, but these ones will be way more major than the Haas upgrades. They are getting a blessing, or a curse, from Red Bull since they will be getting a new suspension that can hopefully fix their tire and top speed issues, and this will be very vital. And I say this because now they have 2 drivers who are young and fast with a big future ahead potentially, and not only do Red Bull want to see who's the best out of the 2, but they may want to prove something to all the other teams on the grid, since I would imagine they don't want to rot in V-Carb hell, and neither do Red Bull want them clogging up their junior spots. So these upgrades gotta show that not only is the car quick, but the drivers as well. Now we have Lex Luthor's F1 team, and he is breaking the bank for these upgrades, since now they are so desperate to get out of whatever hell they are in and actually be competitive again. They are bringing in a B-spec car essentially that can finally launch them up away from the bottom midfield and make them consistently be in the points and maybe start nabbing podiums again. Is this gonna happen? Well, with he who shall not be named continuing to be the word Yuki used, and Eddie Alonso who is practically given up by now, I would not have hope. But perhaps this upgrade, if successful, and trust me, it's an astronomically huge if, maybe they could get the juice they need to be competitive again. Now we have the top dogs, and all 4 of them are bringing huge upgrades, so let us start with Red Bull, and they are bringing in huge upgrades, and they need to. This right here will decide the championship no doubt, because if they work, then good, they can fight. But if it does the opposite and they fail, then congratulations to Lando Norris for becoming a Formula 1 world champion. Not saying if he doesn't bottle on his own, but it is that serious. They are bringing in a new floor and front wing, and the floor is hoping to fix their weird balance issues and not make the car turn worse than a 200,000-ton cruise ship, and their front wing is hoping to add performance since it will be a flexing wing and can hopefully emulate what Ferrari did in Singapore. If there is anyone to keep an eye on this weekend, it is Red Bull, since this will decide the championship right here. Next, we have their direct rivals McLaren, and they are bringing in a new floor, but with how good and fast that car is, you have to ask yourself, is this necessary? There is nothing saying right now if these upgrades will work or fail, and if they do fail, then guess what? Championship is over. Personally me, I wouldn't bring in such a huge upgrade since I would just prefer to bring in minor parts that improve the car, not change the car. So this is a big risk for McLaren, especially if others around them don't fail with their upgrades. Mercedes are next up to talk about, and thank God they're finally going to change this ugly looking car. According to James Allison, they are bringing in a new side pod that will change the car looks, we hope, but also maybe fix their issues with balance, since we see with them that if they get the balance right, which is tricky, then they are extremely competitive, but if they get it wrong, they keep P7 and P8 all warm and cozy. Now for our final team, and we have Ferrari, and compared to the other top dogs, they are bringing in the least amount of upgrades. However, these parts only aim to better the car where it's already good at. The team likely thinks that it's way too late to fix the car's balance issues, so they're just going to go all in on their strengths and will likely bring a new rear wing that can aid their new front wing and keep them in the hunt for second in the standings. Why do we always finish second in the title fighting seasons? Maybe I should make a video on that. Anyways, we are finally done with the upgrades, and now we can talk tea, and there is a ton of it as to be expected with the 1 month break. First, let's talk about Haas and how if I am used correctly, I could be a miracle worker. Right when I say in my F1 in 10 years video that Haas will be stuck in midfield limbo unless they get a big car company partnership, what happens just 2 days later? They partner up with Toyota. I am so damn good at jinxing. Anyways, yes, it was rumored a couple months back that they would do this, but nothing came of it, so we just assumed it was false. But no, Toyota's racing team actually partnered up with Haas in a deal that will see Toyota help Haas with car stuff, and Haas help Toyota with marketing stuff, to put it simply. This is extremely beneficial for both parties, since Haas may be a genuine sought-after team soon, and Toyota can finally reign their influence on F1 again after that horrible spell ended in 2009. And just imagine, for those who don't know by the way, Kamui Kobayashi was a Toyota affiliated driver that raced in F1 from 2010 to 2014, and he was really mediocre in junior series, but he got his big break in his sub-performance in F1 for Toyota and massively impressed, so much so he got a drive in F1 and is now an extremely underrated driver. Now, let me cook. Just imagine that the same fate happens for Ritomo Miyata, Super Formula champion who is performing mediocrely in F2. Imagine he gets a sub-performance in F1 and massively impresses and gets a drive in F1. Please, we need it. Anyways, moving on, we have Alpine, and they announced that they would be dropping their custom engine and opting to be a customer team going forward in F1, and I am so unbelievably disappointed. This was their identity in the sport, and now they're getting rid of it to be a Mercedes customer? Genuinely, why are they still here? Why isn't Andretti here instead? The team not only lost a buttload of key personnel and drivers, but now lost their own goddamn engine. What use do they have anymore? Put in Andretti, who have infinitely more racing heritage than Alpine does, and give them a chance, please. I have nothing more to say about them. Next, we have Audi, and again, they're having engine issues. Thanks to Mr. Binotto, we now know that Audi feel they are behind on their engine targets for 2026 and will expect to climb to the top from the bottom, and how they expect to be backmarkers and more and more and more pessimistic claims. And it's like, guys, where's your rage? I get it, they are sad they are behind and have to be upfront and honest, but like, come on, everyone is expecting something and y'all got nothing? Come on now. We can only hope that they become more optimistic in the future. Finally, we of course have the Ricciardo drop from VCARB news, but I mean, there were already reports of him being dropped after freaking Japan and Spain, so I feel this is inevitable, but nevertheless, still very sad to see a great leave the sport in the way he did. Now for the ones to watch, and I already kinda spoiled it, but keep a good eye on Red Bull, since again, this will make or break the season and whether or not there will be an unholy amount of head loss and coping on F1 Twitter after Abu Dhabi. Now for the very realistic and not in any way delusional and biased predictions for the American GP. As always, it must be stated that we will predict 3 things: the top 5 in the quali, the top 5 in the race, and a random prediction from any session. It should also be noted that these predictions are based on nothing but pure vibes, so bear with me. Anyways, let's begin with our predictions, and unfortunately, we have a sprint race, so I'm just going to predict pole and the win. So the sprint pole will go to Lewis Hamilton, and the sprint win will go to Max Verstappen. Now for the real stuff, and we first have quali predictions, and I predict that the top 5 on Saturday, starting with 5th, will be Oscar Piastri, and 4th will be Charles Leclerc, and 3rd will be Lando Norris, and 2nd will be Lewis Hamilton, and for pole position I have Max Verstappen after an extremely close quali session. Now for the top 5 on Sunday for the race, and starting with 5th will be George Russell, and 4th will be Charles Leclerc, and 3rd will be Max Verstappen, and 2nd will be Lando Norris, and the winner of the United States Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton after a chaotic race. Now for my random prediction, and I think that in the race, there will be at least 5 DNFs and 2 safety cars. Welcome back, Burn Mylander. So, that was my weekend preview for the United States Grand Prix. Oh boy, I am hyped. Are you hyped? You better be hyped, since this race may potentially be the one that defines the championship. Maybe I'm overrating it a little bit, but how could I not? This season has without a doubt been the best in this ground effect era and probably the second best of the decade. It's hard not to be hyped. Anyways, you can expect the winners and losers to go up on Sunday after the race, and only then will we see what we had in store. So after looking at all the upgrades teams will bring, the drama entering the weekend, the ones to watch during the weekend, and some very stupid predictions, we are in for one hell of a race. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe, since that would greatly help me out in making better content, and let me know in the comments what your predictions are, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.